will have a laid-back, so what attitude and go ahead with high energy. Yeehaw! But be careful that your batteries don't run out. And just like I say each time, don't forget to save frequently.
Caraca, obrigado. Olá pessoas, sejam bem-vindos à segunda parte do nosso julgamento número 4. Eu jamais esperava que a própria Casa Maluca seria arma suprema. Foi o que a gente descobriu alguns minutos atrás, né? No episódio passado.
Oh well, let's just press on ahead.
Is it really all right to accept a situation so easily?
I mean, that's not what's important. The thing that's really important is the killer who used the building structure. Like, who's Mekumaru's murderer?
Exato.
Is it really okay to believe the building is the weapon? Nagito said it, you know.
There's no way I'd lie at such an important moment. I don't want to die either.
What happened to the bastard who kept saying how much they didn't mind dying?
Exato, obrigado, Fio Rico.
Right. There was a time when I thought I could become a stepping stone for your hopes, but I will sincerely retract that remark.
Olha, ele tá audacioso.
I'm disappointed too, you know. If this was a murder for the sake of hope, I'd happily sacrifice myself.
You say such falsehoods, per usual. There is no such thing as murder for the sake of hope. Murder is simply murder. Forcibly sacrificing others for one's own desires. Even one as diabolical as I would avoid such actions.
I see.
It's
Eu
fine.
entendo, foda-se.
Let's just leave him alone and find out who killed Coach Nekomaru as fast as we can.
Aham.
Just so you know, it's not like I'm getting hungry or anything.
Não, imagina, Kanye.
Akane, you were drooling waterfalls?
Babando cachoeiras. Nagito, como sempre, não consigo entender o que ele está pensando. Não faço ideia se ele está falando sério ou não.
Anyway, if the killer used the building structure, why don't we think about how they used it?
How they killed Nekomaru.
Pois
It
é.
might be better if we clarify the cause of death first, don't you think?
A causa da morte do Nekomaru ele estava terrivelmente danificado, como se tivesse sido espancado por um objeto contundente. Mas se ele foi espancado com um objeto contundente, não teria sido um assassinato que utilizou... Não teria sido um assassinato que utilizou a estrutura do edifício. Então, como a estrutura do edifício poderia causar uma morte? Esmagado pelo elevador? Não. Queda? Talvez. Espancado por um objeto contundente? Talvez. Bateria fraca? Acho que não. Acho que queda. Queda é o que mais encaixa nessa
I
parada, tá
think he might
ligado?
have died from falling.
Died from falling?
If the funhouse's secret is that it's a structure where both towers and houses are vertically connected, then the killer made use of its height and caused Nekomaru to die from falling.
Are you
Nah.
saying they pushed him off? Where'd they push him off from?
That I don't know yet.
Don't just make things up when you don't know the method.
O que tá querendo ensinar?
Where in that building would you even be able to push someone off in the first place?
It might be possible in the tower. You could push him off the 4th floor when the elevator is on the 1st floor.
Empurrar ele do quarto andar quando o
Did
elevador
you
estiver no
forget how
primeiro.
the elevator functions? When
É,
it's on
não
the
abre,
first
tá
floor,
fechado.
The door on the 4th floor won't open.
Saying he died from falling is truly incorrect. You should burn in the flames of hell.
But my gut is going crazy right now.
Se o Nekomaru morreu em uma queda, de onde o assassino empurrou o Nekomaru? Se for pra alcançar a verdade por trás desse incidente, eu preciso resolver esse mistério a seguir. Alguma coisa que não tá encaixando aí, tá ligado? Botão de boa noite, alarme relógio, maçanetas, assassino estranho.
When the elevator is on the 1st
O
floor,
elevador tá no primeiro andar?
you can't go through the door in the
Ninguém
4th.
pode passar pela porta do quarto, certo?
It'd be impossible to shove off the
Não seria
victim
impossível
from up there.
empurrar a vítima lá de cima.
Then, how about this? After locking
Depois de trancar o
Nekomaru
Nekomaru
inside
dentro do
the elevator,
elevador,
they moved the elevator from the
e
4th
ele
floor to
moveu o
the
elevador
1st
do
floor
quarto
and
pro
made
primeiro
use of the
andar.
drop.
E se espreitou no...
Hold on. Did you forget the elevator has a sensor?
O elevador tem um
As long as there's a
sensor.
moving object inside, the other door won't open.
Tá, mas se...
Which means the elevator wouldn't have moved either.
That must be the threshold of that elevator.
Tá, mas pera aí. Eu preciso deixar claro porque eles entendem que o Nekomaru morreu ao cair. Parece que tudo depende de mim. Pera aí. O elevador sobe E ele abre, como a gente fez aquele negócio com a Chiaki, só se tiver um objeto imóvel. Pessoas não dá certo isso. No entanto, se o Nekomaru tiver desativado, ele não é uma pessoa, ele é um robô, vira um objeto. O objeto desativado não influi nos sensores. Eita caralho, dei um tiro sem querer.
You can't go through the door on the fourth floor.
It'd be
Tá.
impossible to shove off the victim.
Then, how about after locking
Tá,
Nekomaru,
deve ser isso,
they
cara.
moved the elevator from the fourth floor to the first floor and made use of the
E aproveitou da queda,
Did you forget the elevator has
o sensor,
there's a moving object
objeto em movimento. O Nekomaru parado é um objeto em movimento. É um objeto parado, quer dizer.
That sensor should only work if something is moving. If Nekomaru wasn't moving inside, the elevator
Ah,
Could it be his sleep mode?
When Nekomaru's goodnight button is pressed, all of his functions shut down, and he enters sleep mode. If he's in sleep mode, the elevator sensor wouldn't have noticed him.
exato.
I see. So that's how...
However, even if they moved the elevator in that manner, Nekomaru would have just moved along with it. There would have been no drop for him to fall and die from. Yes?
That's what I was about to explain before Kazuichi interrupted me. Silence, pest.
Ih, chamou de ser inseto.
calling me a pest?
Caraca! Uma maneira de criar uma queda dentro do elevador enquanto o Nekomaru ainda estava lá dentro. Shaq parece ter uma ideia, mas de que maneira isso poderia ser feito? Cara, tá, vamos ver quais são os argumentos. Isso vai ser bizarro.
If you arrange it a certain way,
De certa maneira,
you can cause the drop
você
within
pode
the
causar a
elevator.
queda
So
dentro do
you're telling
elevador.
us all to think about the arrangement, right?
Os preparativos.
That arrangement is...
Os preparativos seria
The hammer is suspicious.
martelo é suspeito.
Isn't it about time we went over the pillar again?
Falar do pilar novamente.
What about the oil on the floor?
E o óleo no chão. Não, o óleo é dele.
The doorknob on the floor seems suspicious.
A maçaneta parece bastante
How
suspeita.
about we all shut up and listen to what Chiaki has to say?
Silence, pest.
Don't be so cold. What if I start to enjoy it?
Meu Deus, cara. Não, nem fudendo. Se o Nekomaru estava dentro do elevador, como você pode fazer o elevador se mover? Tem que
You
ser.
arrange it a certain way,
Só
you
tem
can
como dar-
cause the drop within the elevator.
Não! Droga.
Way, you can cause the drop within the elevator.
Corrente.
So you're telling us all to think about the arrangement, right?
That arrangement is... The hammer is suspicious.
Pra fazer o elevador
Isn't
subir.
it about time we went over the pillar?
What about the oil on the floor?
Olha no chão.
The doorknob on the floor seems suspicious.
É isso? Não.
Hammer is suspicious.
Isn't it about time we went over the...
What about the oil on the floor?
The doorknob on the floor seems suspicious.
Isso?
I agree with that.
Oh, man! Acertei! Caraca, velho.
Didn't the doorknob
A
have
maçaneta
scrape
não
marks
tinha
on it?
marcas de raspas nela?
That might have been where it got scraped by the wire.
Tá, um
Is
fio
that
de
the
arame.
same wire that was tied around Nekomaru?
The tip of that wire was tied into a loop.
Formato de nó.
The elevator moved while that loop
Se o
part hung
elevador
from
se
the door.
movesse enquanto nós estivesse amarrado na maçaneta. Se o elevador se movesse enquanto nós estivesse amarrado na maçaneta,
If they did something like that,
ele teria deixado
he would have been
suspenso no ar.
suspended in midair. That's right.
Ele
He was
estava
suspended
suspenso
in
no
midair.
ar.
Huh? The killer tied up Nekomaru
Amarrou
with
Nekomaru
the
com
wire while he
arame
was in
enquanto
sleep
ele
mode.
estava no modo suspensão.
Tied the tip of the wire into a
Amarrou a
knot and
ponta
hung it
do
on the doorknob
arame
to the fourth
em um
floor.
nó. Em seguida, o assassino amarrou a ponta do arame em um nó e pendurou na maçaneta na porta do quarto andar.
With that, they moved the elevator from the fourth floor to the first
Caraca, o
floor
Nekomaru
of
ficou lá
Great Tower
preso lá em cima.
and suspended Nekomaru in midair.
That's right! He was so well hung!
Carai! E isso acabou quebrando a maçaneta.
Finish that sentence.
The killer took advantage of the elevator's unique feature. Only the floor moves. By doing that, they created a drop so Nekomaru could fall to his death.
Too easy.
Quê? Mas foi exatamente isso.
So what if they created a drop?
Não é como
There's
você
no way
fazer
you
ele
can
cair e
fall
morrer
and
com
die
isso.
with just that. What? Nekomaru is suspended in midair like
Então
that?
como você faria ele cair?
Because if he's suspended in midair, he won't die if he doesn't actually.
Tá, ele não... Tá, mas tipo, ele é pesado, ele arrebentou a maçaneta. Fragmentos do pilar, maçaneta quebrada.
Even if they suspended Nekomaru from a wire,
Tá.
how would they make him fall? There's no one in the tower to push him off. There's no way they could do that.
Ok,
Doesn't mean someone had to push him off.
teve que empurrá-lo.
It's possible that he fell on his own.
Exato, caído por conta própria.
What? Nekomaru fell on his own?
Ai, errei. Eita. Droga. Tá, agora eu joguei mal.
Nekomaru should have still been in sleep mode. If he was sleeping, there's no way he could do that to himself. Now's the time if you want, but in that case, you still won't be able to explain the drop.
Tá. Regredir. Meu Deus. Ai, meu pai. Tá, meu... Puta que pariu.
That.
Se não é aquela bala, tem que ser outra.
Even if they suspended Nekomaru from a wire,
Tá, mesmo que
how
pode
would they make
suspender.
him fall?
Como
There's
ia
no
fazer
one
ele
in the
cair?
tower to push him off.
Não
There's
havia
no
ninguém na
way they
torre.
could do that.
Não tem como alguém fazer isso. Beleza.
It doesn't mean someone had to push him off.
E será que ele acordou, se assustou e
It's possible
caiu?
that he fell on his own.
What? Nekomaru fell on his own?
Errei. Rádio sozinha. Meu Deus! Não é essa bala, tem que ser outra.
Nekomaru fell on his own? Nekomaru should have still been in.
Eita!
Through those words.
Modo de suspensão, mas tinha um relógio alarme e deu no timing certinho. Tá pura, que
What do you
sorte.
think would happen if Nekomaru woke up while he was suspended upside down in midair?
Né?
What are you saying? Like, how would he even wake up?
He has an alarm inside his body. As long as it was armed, it would have deactivated his sleep mode.
Exato.
Which means the killer set the alarm before they suspended Nekomaru.
You woke up from an alarm and realized you were hanging upside down and had no clue why. If something like that happened to you, you would start panicking a lot, right?
Exato.
Instinctively, your body would start moving. Nekomaru probably did exactly that.
And then, in order to make him fall from the force he was generating, the wire was hung on the tip of the doorknob so it would easily slip off. In actuality, the scrape marks caused by the wire were near the tip of the doorknob, right?
But Nekomaru didn't fall because the wire came off, right?
He fell because the entire doorknob came off.
When Nekomaru awoke, he must have struggled much more than expected, which caused the doorknob to break off.
Was that unexpected for the killer too?
Well, that's probably it. If they knew it'd leave behind evidence like that, they would have at least tried to do something to cover it up.
Né? O assassino não esperava que a maçaneta caísse. O motivo para ele não ter notado isso foi porque... Nesse caso, usarei todo o meu poder. Com um rugido feroz, Nekomaru colocou todo o seu poder em pegar a maçaneta com as duas mãos. Mas, clac, 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 a maçaneta não quebrou, né? Tipo, a força de 1 milhão de cavalos de potência não foi o suficiente para quebrar. Se quebrar a maçaneta, ficaremos. Se isso foi realmente o que aconteceu, então essa é a pista que o Nekomaru nos deixou. Então foi assim que o Nekomaru caiu e morreu.
Fell to his death.
Do you finally understand now?
Yeah. It appears it's just as Miss Sonia said. I'm just a pest. No, I'm not just a pest. I'm a total fucking pig. Isn't that right, Miss Sonia? If I'm a fucking pig, you can say so.
No, I believe you gave your all.
Hey,
Caraca.
ain't you teasing me anymore?
This guy, he gets off on this.
É, eu digo mesmo, cara, eu tô muito com o fio rico
So
agora.
thanks to that alarm, Nekomaru ended up falling while he was still hanging upside down.
Exato.
That doesn't mean he just crashed straight into the floor. Of course, you know that too, right?
Isso não significa que o Nekomaru caiu direto no chão. No momento que o Nekomaru caiu no chão, a única coisa que posso pensar que aconteceu com ele foi que ele colidiu com o pilar.
I see.
Deve ser, ele deve ter dado com a cara no pilar.
When Nekomaru fell to the floor, he ended up colliding with the pillar. Is it
Finally, the pillar!
So that's how the pillar shattered, and why oil was spilled all over the place.
See, I told you the pillar was the weapon. My gut was totally right.
Não sei se é.
Well, the pillar was a bonus. It's not even clear if the killer intended that,
É,
or
isso foi
if it
apenas
was
uma
just a
coincidência.
coincidence.
At this point, it is quite difficult to find a clue that will lead to the killer.
Aham.
And what about the alarm? I'm positive the alarm was set for 7:30 a.m. And if we map it out from there...
Hold on, baby gangsta.
Bebê gangsta.
Stop calling me baby gangsta!
What'd you just say? Did you say the alarm was set for 7:30 a.m.?
You didn't check it yourself? Nekomaru's alarm was set for 7:30 a.m.
Nah, that's impossible, because even though I slept in a little, I still got to the tower at 7 in the morning.
Now that you mention it, so did I. There was no way I could be late for Monokuma Tai Chi, so I left for Grape Tower before 7 a.m.
And if we found Nekomaru's body there, it would have been before the 7:30
Oh, é
alarm.
verdade.
It appears yet another contradiction has been birthed. How were you able to discover Nekomaru died at 7:30 a.m. when you went to the tower at 7?
That's what I want to know.
Outro mistério que eu não entendi. Sério, é apenas um mistério após o outro. Mas eu não posso fraquejar em um momento como esse. Só mais um pouquinho conseguirei alcançar a verdade. Com certeza deve haver uma pista para romper essa contradição. Caraca, velho. Vamos ver. Essa deve ser alguma coisa rádio relógio.
We headed for Grape Tower
Vamos para a torre de uva.
before 7 a.m. I am certain.
Tá.
But the alarm inside Nekomaru's chest was set for 7:30 a.m.
Foi programado para 7h30.
Nekomaru died because of that alarm, right?
His time of death and the time
Hora
of
da
body
morte,
was
o corpo foi
discovered.
descoberto.
One of those must be an illusion.
Killer probably did some tampering.
Manipulou algo.
They probably messed with the clock inside
Não, 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 não,
Nekomaru's
não tem como mexer nesse relógio. Não tem. O relógio é automatizado, a gente sabe disso do episódio passado.
No, the clock inside his chest was a
É um via rádio, então
so
seria
it would
impossível
have been
mexer.
impossible to mess with.
So you're saying there's no way the killer could have tampered with the clock?
Exato.
Maybe the clock Miss Sonia saw was the one that got tampered with.
The clock inside Grape House?
No, I checked all the clocks inside the funhouse.
Oh, that's what I asked you to do. So you really listened to me and checked all the
Babaca.
clocks.
And because of that, I can confidently declare that all the clocks had the same time displayed.
If there's no possibility that the time was tampered with, then we must doubt that human's testimony.
Please believe me, we are not lying.
Then maybe it's a misunderstanding.
I never misunderstand. I'll crush you into dog food.
Carai. Essa contradição relacionada ao tempo, eu não acho que eu deva duvidar dos testemunhos. Deveria duvidar do relógio. Não tem erro que algo foi feito. Mas como isso foi feito? Acho que estamos esquecendo de algo. Talvez estamos entendendo mal alguma coisa. Pense, se eu me concentrar e pensar, eu deveria ser capaz de encontrar a resposta para esse mistério. Imersão lógica, bora lá. Vamos lá, vamos. Vamos de novo para mais uma imersão lógica de responder as perguntas. Andar no meu skate. Uhul! Tá. Cadê a pergunta número 1? Vou pôr. Ok. Primeira questão. O que o Hajime e os outros interpretaram errado? Local, hora do edifício? Acho que foi a hora. A hora do relógio estava errada, né? Foi o que a gente interpretou errado. Porque a hora certa é a que estava no peito do Mekamaru. Vamos seguir. Dashzinho aqui, dashzinho ali. Caraca, mano. Tive que fazer esse trick aqui. Tá bom. Próxima pergunta. Segunda questão. Qual relógio foi manipulado? O relógio do edifício. O do rádio do Nekomaru não foi manipulado. Aí, certa resposta, rapaz. Vê se pode. Ok. Qual é a terceira pergunta? Véi! Ui! Dele a meio das orelhas. Ok. Meu Deus, cara. Última pergunta. Qual casa teve hora manipulada? Ambas as casas? Ah! Casa de morango? Acho que acertei. Caraca, errei! Droga. Ambas as casas, né? As casas tiveram os relógios manipulados. Meu Deus, como eu fui errar uma pergunta tão idiota, né, velho? Ok, vamos embora. Ambas as casas. Os horários foram manipulados. Aí, agora nós aqui, ó. Papum, 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 pá.
It's all coming together.
Ótimo.
You said you checked all the clocks inside the building. Isn't that right, Fuyuhiko?
Yeah, none of the clocks had the wrong time.
But what if all those clocks had been messed
E...
What? All the clocks?
So even if you checked all the clocks inside the building, there's no way you'd have noticed it.
I see. So the killer messed with the time inside the whole building by changing all the clocks.
So that's what it was. There's no way I would have noticed that.
This is truly fantastic!
Meu Deus, se empolgou.
Now's not the time to be pleased. More importantly, how much was the time off?
Ela está certa, esse é o principal problema. Preciso esclarecer quanto tempo passou quando o assassino manipulou os relógios. Esse com certeza é o próximo mistério. Eu vou alcançar a verdade de uma vez só. Tá. Testemunha da Akane. Testemunho do Fuyuhiko, né? Que o Fuyuhiko viu. Será? Peraí, vamos olhar as balas da verdade. Agora é testemunhos. Ouvi um barulho às 5h30 da manhã. Testemunho do Fuyuhiko. Primeiro andar a casa de morango às 5. Vamos jogar com o testemunho da Akane primeiro, depois vamos tentar do Fuyuhiko.
Then we can only rely on Nekomaru's radio clock.
Tá, só podemos confiar no relógio do Nekomaru.
Time of death. It's clearly 7:30 a.m.
Foi claramente... Será que não? Errei. Tá.
If the time in the building was all messed up, then we can only rely on Nekomaru's radio clock.
Ok.
The time of death.
Hora da
It's
morte.
clearly 7:30
7h30 da manhã.
Problem is, what time is 7 in
Que hora
our
seria?
time?
No nosso tempo é 7h30.
Are there any clues that can be used to narrow that down? If only I heard the sound when he fell.
O som quando ele caiu.
It would have been a great clue.
Or his scream.
Ou o grito dele.
It's not the type to laugh.
Only Nekomaru's alarm was loud and we would have heard it too.
Caraca, pera.
There's no point in saying that. If does not exist in this world.
Tá, pera. Em quanto tempo o assassino ajustou os relógios? Será que foi na queda? Pera aí, vamos passar isso aqui.
It's clearly 7.
The problem is
7h30 da manhã.
Are there any clues that can be... If only I heard the sound when he
O som que ele caiu. Vamos concordar com a Sônia. Foi às 5 quando a Akane ouviu.
That's right. We should have heard the sound he made when he fell.
E isso...
Was it rumbling? I thought it was just an earthquake, so I went back to sleep. Was that the sound from when Nekomaru fell?
Well, a huge body fell from the 4th floor to the 1st, and the pillar fell with it. It's obvious we'd hear the impact sound.
we heard that noise too.
It was when we were gathered at the Strawberry House Lounge. What is it, Sonia?
Oh, well. That sound everyone heard? I did not hear it at all.
Como
You
assim?
probably didn't hear it because you were sleeping.
I could not sleep at all. I was awake the whole night with hunger pangs.
There's nothing to worry about. What's important is that
Tem que defender ela até não querer mais,
We
né?
use that rumbling sound as a reference. We might be able to figure out how much our time was off.
I heard that sound probably around 5:30 in the morning.
Huh? You can tell?
I instantly woke up and left my room. And that's when I saw the clock in the lounge.
Excellent work, Akane.
Se aquele som estrondoso que ouvimos foi às 5h30 da manhã, é como se a resposta para diferentes tempos estivesse em 2 horas,
I see.
né?
Nekomaru's alarm
O alarme do
went off
Nekomaru
at
disparou
7:30.
7h30.
And
E
if
se
we heard the
ouvimos o
sound
som
of
do
his
impacto?
impact at 5:30, that means our time was off by 2 hours.
A gente estava atrasado 2 horas.
2 hours?
We were starving pretty badly. There's no way we would have noticed.
Exato.
Plus, the funhouse has no windows. And there weren't any Monokuma announcements either.
However, for what reason did the killer alter our perception of time?
The reason is obvious. So they can lure out just Nekomaru.
Oh! Atrair apenas o
If you
Nekomaru.
messed with the clocks and used a specific thing, you definitely get Nekomaru to the tower alone, right?
Sim, inteligente
From
isso.
there, the killer's plan was a splendid success. That's all it means.
Além de manipular o tempo, o assassino também usou uma coisa específica. Se ele estava tentando atrair apenas o Nekomaru, então essa coisa específica seria Monokuma Taishi.
That's it. The killer made use of the Monokuma Tai Chi activity in the morning.
How did they use it?
We were required to go to Great Tower
Todas as manhãs
every
7 pra fazer
morning at
atividade,
7 a.m.
né?
for that activity, right? But if they mess with all the clocks inside the building, what would that do to us?
We wouldn't be able to attend on time, but that wouldn't affect Nekomaru.
Exato.
His radio clock had the exact time.
That's right. In doing so, the killer was able to lure him to the tower by himself at the precise time.
And when I witnessed Nekomaru early in the morning,
If I recall, you witnessed Nekomaru around 5 a.m. And if that time was also 2 hours off,
Deve ter ocorrido às 7 da manhã. Caraca.
yeah, at that time, he was heading over to Monokuma Tai Chi, right on schedule.
I see. Now that I think about it,
Too early. He didn't even ask me yet.
Nossa, que escandaloso. Sinceramente, não esperava que todos abandonassem o Monokuma Tai Chi. Mas já que acabou assim, afinal de contas, então acho que não posso fazer nada quanto a isso.
you said everyone, including us, right? We thought we came to the tower on time, but in truth, it was way past.
Ah!
Aw, jeez.
A gente chegou atrasado pro Monokuma Tai Chi.
What was it?
A gente chegou meia hora depois.
Or something like. Are you talking about tripping over someone else? Wrong! Too bad! Liar! I'm right! That's not it! It's incorrect! That's definitely the correct answer. You always get so stubborn like this.
Let's just ignore the peanut gallery.
Obrigado, Nagito.
Now
Algo
that we
sensato.
found out how the killer lured Nekomaru, the number of suspects has drastically decreased.
Hã?
Hey, how would that decrease the
Como
number
assim?
of suspects? Don't be a friggin' liar.
You'll know I'm not lying when you listen to what Fuyuhiko's going to say next.
huh? What the hell do you
Como
mean?
assim?
You witnessed Nekomaru going toward the tower. Did something else happen after that?
Are you talking about that alarm?
Alarme?
A little while after I witnessed Nekomaru, the clock in the Strawberry House lounge started going off. Plus, it was just before that rumbling sound occurred. That's it. So that's what it is. If Nekomaru died when the rumble happened, then whoever doesn't have an alibi at the time
Oh,
is the
quem não
prime
tem um
suspect.
álibi.
Really? Was there anyone who didn't have an alibi at that time?
I remember now. The sound was so loud I couldn't help bolting from my room. But there was one guy.
Tinha um cara que não saiu do quarto.
We were both on the same floor. It's pretty weird that bastard never came out of his guest room.
Which means that person does not have an alibi for when Nekomaru fell?
Who is it? Who's the bastard?
O culpado é aquele que não tem um álibi naquele momento, certo? O Ganda e o Kazuichi estavam juntos. Fuyuhiko também. Quem não tava lá era o Nagito.
You're the only one!
Oh, safado que não tinha.
The one who wasn't there. It's you, right, Nagito?
That's right. Nagito wasn't there. It was just me, Gundam, and Fuyuhiko.
You didn't come out, even though the alarm was going off like crazy. You weren't in your room, were you?
If that's the case, where were you?
Please, say something.
If you don't hurry up and answer, I'm gonna suicide.
If I may be frank, even if I wanted to go to the lounge, I couldn't.
You couldn't? What do you mean?
It's merely the foolish
Tola de fracos.
Not only did I not hear the alarm, I never even heard that rumbling sound.
Ele não podia.
You're definitely fucking lying.
However, that is also true for me. It is obvious that I did not hear the alarm, but I did not hear the rumbling sound either.
Será que os quartos são isolantes?
To be honest, it's not just them. The same goes for me too. I was in a pretty deep sleep, so I thought that's why I couldn't hear it. But it wasn't that. I probably couldn't hear it at all.
Couldn't hear it? What does that mean?
You still don't know. Think about what the three of us who didn't hear a sound
Os
have in
quartos,
common.
né? As únicas pessoas que não ouviram barulhos sonadores foram Nagito e Sonishaki. O segredo é que os três têm em comum. Também pode ser segredo de aprontar por assassino. É os quartos. Quarto. Será? É, vai ser quarto. Aí. Preciso de um A. Quarto. Quartos. Preciso de um S. Ok. Quartos de quartos de luxo. X. Mo. Quartos de luxo tinha isolante acústico. Ah, sacada, né?
Nagito, Sonia, and Chiaki. The three of you were staying in deluxe room, right?
Ahá!
I recall. The deluxe rooms are...
São. Os quartos são divididos em classes de qualidade. Quarto de luxo, a prova de som e tem excelente isolamento de ar. Quarto normal tem isolamento, mas lugar decente. Quarto medíocre tem um fluxo de ar severo e problemas de acabamento. Exato.
That's right.
Os quartos de luxo têm
Because the
isolamento.
deluxe rooms have superior sound insulation. I actually noticed that.
Boa, Radinho.
Nice catch, Haji.
Super colegial reserva, meu
Using
Deus.
your ultimate reserve corps student talent. Now then, you guys
A verdadeira
must
identidade do assassino Nekomaru. Peraí, como isso nos leva?
Well, that fact just now is a very important clue.
Como assim?
Decisive factor?
De alguma forma eu acho que estou entendendo o que o Nagito quer dizer. O assassino entre nós? O assassino que matou o Nekomaru? Cara. Quem poderia ser? Se quem ouviu foi o Kazuichi, eu ouvi. O Ganda. A Kanye não foi. Fui o Rico também não foi. Será o Fui o Rico? Não é. Tá, se foi no mesmo andar do Nekomaru, não foi o Fui o Rico, não foi o Kazuichi, é o Gundam?
You're the only one.
Carai!
Gundam, there's something I want to ask you.
Nem fudendo.
When the alarm rang at the Strawberry House Lounge, you rushed over there too, right?
What's wrong with that? If the bell of catastrophe rings throughout the night, it is the universe's providence to stop it.
Why were you able to hear it?
Como ele
Hear
conseguiu
what?
ouvir?
I mean, you were also staying in a deluxe room, right? Nagito was staying in a deluxe room in the same house on the same floor, and he couldn't even hear it. So why were you able to hear that alarm?
Nossa!
Gundam?
There's only one possibility. You weren't in your room at the time. That's why, even though you were staying in a deluxe room, you still went to the lounge. Am I...
Gundam, you have some sort of explanation, right?
Gundam probably couldn't return to his room because of Fuyuhiko.
Me?
After you saw Nekomaru heading to the tower, you stayed at the lounge for a while. Am I correct?
Mano,
Until the moment that alarm started ringing, right? If you were in the lounge for that long, the killer who had left earlier obviously wouldn't be able to go back.
Even though Nekomaru's murder was a death trap that utilized the alarm in his chest, the killer still needed to prepare the murder in advance.
Like putting Nekomaru in sleep mode and tying him up with the wire.
In order to do that, the killer needed to be waiting for Nekomaru at the tower. Which means when Fuyuhiko witnessed Nekomaru, the killer was already at the tower.
meu Deus!
And once they tried to go back, they couldn't because Fuyuhiko was at the lounge.
Meu Deus!
In their original plan, the killer should have returned to their room before the alarm in the lounge went off. And they were supposed to stay in their room. They weren't planning to come out and go to the lounge.
Which means they wouldn't have heard the alarm or the
thinking they were in the room, just like us.
The best case scenario would have been if those two in the lounge had gone to check the deluxe rooms.
Exato.
After all, if they personally saw the killer sleeping in their room, it gives the killer a stronger alibi.
Sim.
Unfortunately, they failed to secure that alibi.
I was in the lounge.
So the killer couldn't go back to their room and ended up hearing the lounge's alarm.
Caraca, brother, olha isso. Isso é estridente, é mais alto que o Supremo Governante Supremo Berrante. Não vá fazendo todo esse barulho tão de repente.
But why'd you come out? You should have hid till the excitement died down.
If Gundam tried to hide, and if those two went to his room to check on him, he would have been found out.
Né?
That would have been the worst possible outcome. That's why he couldn't just stay hidden.
If those two had just checked the deluxe rooms as planned, that would have been ideal, but how ironic. The moment Fuyuhiko set foot in the lounge, your plan was doomed.
Caraca.
Gundam? Please, can you at least say...
Answer me this, including myself in my 4 dark devas of destruction. How many ears do we possess?
Huh?
The answer is 10. That's right, I possess 10 ears. That means I have 5 times the hearing of a normal human. The soundproof system here may as well not exist.
Is that your argument?
Sério?
Bastard! Do you understand the situation you're in right now?
Do not panic. The truth shall now commence. At the time, I left my room to go to the bathroom. By coincidence, I heard the alarm. That's right. That's all it...
Are you saying it was just a
Uma
coincidence?
coincidência.
Isn't that timing a little too
Né?
perfect?
Perfeitinho demais.
Yet, I'm being suspected by all of you. It seems it was actually horrible timing on my part.
I see. You're still holding out. Well, you don't have to admit it. We're going to decide who the killer is with the majority vote anyway. So, why don't we just go ahead and start voting? It's obvious that Gundam is the killer.
Hold on a sec.
Calma, tem coisa aí.
You know, Hajime, this class trial, this killing, it's merely the opening act, you know.
Hey! What do you mean the class trial is just the opening act?
Perhaps I should say it's just a farce. Just a boring farce. So boring, so stressful. I'm so painfully bored that I might develop stomach ulcers. Seriously. Let's just hurry up and finish this before I collapse from poor health.
Nagito, something definitely happened.
É, ele mudou muito, cara. A gente
At
esqueceu
some point
disso.
during the investigation, your behavior became even weirder. What actually happened? Did you discover something?
Well, let's just leave that fun for later. And
You said opening act again!
Please hold on! They have yet to hear Gundam's rebuttal!
but he's completely shut up. Perhaps he can't argue anymore.
Gundam!
I was simply at a loss for words after being dumbfounded by your pathetic assumption. In fact, I shall deny the very basis. Your assumption has been wrong since the beginning.
Since the beginning?
Based on your assumption, I hung Nekomaru from the 4th floor of the tower and made the floor descend to the 1st floor. From there, after returning to Strawberry House, I was present when the alarm at the lounge went off.
Tá.
Correct. Although going to and fro is busy enough as it is, how
Como é que ele
would I be able to
voltaria,
travel
né?
between both houses anyway?
Let's see. The contact elevator was broken.
Caraca, tinha me esquecido disso, o elevador tava quebrado. Se o Gundam amarrou o Nekomaru lá em cima e desceu no elevador, como é que ele ia voltar? Não tinha como.
As I recall, the killer tampered with the Grape House control panel, which shut down the elevator. Plus, the stopped elevator should have been facing the Grape House side. If so, the human who used the elevator would have left it at Grape House. For these reasons, it's an indisputable fact that the killer destroyed the elevator at Grape House.
And what's wrong with that?
If the elevator was broken at Grape House, he wouldn't be able to return to Strawberry House.
Exato.
However, I was already at Strawberry House. I was present when the alarm in the lounge started ringing, which means your assumption is clearly wrong.
Are you serious? And here I thought it's already been decided.
Have you learned your lesson, pitiful humans? You cannot overcome this contradiction.
É, ele tem um ponto, né? Isso tá errado. Quando algo está obviamente errado, é aí que nasce uma contradição. Não existe uma contradição que não pode ser superada. Faça seu argumento. Botão, testemunho, fio rico, relógio, elevador, alarme, relógio, mano. Tem alguma coisa aí.
That elevator was the only means of travel between the two houses.
Não, o único meio de alguém se mover, não. Pera.
Your assumption collapses.
Plus, the elevator was broken at Grape House.
If the killer cannot return to Strawberry House,
Since I was at Strawberry House at that time, there's no question that the following crime is impossible.
Tá.
It would have been different if they had an accomplice.
Se ele tivesse um
There was a
cúmplice.
secret passageway.
Uma
How
passagem
much longer do you
secreta.
plan to lecture me? Why don't we stop this already?
Uma contradição é algo quando está obviamente errado, não é uma contradição que eu não posso rebater. Pera, mas tem algo muito errado aí. A passagem secreta, alguma coisa que dê de voltar, só pode ser isso, tá ligado? Mas como? Mano, tem alguma coisa.
That elevator was the only means of travel between the two houses. As long as that elevator was broken, your assumption collapses.
Será que eu tenho que capturar alguma
Plus,
coisa?
the elevator
Porque
was
nada disso aqui faz sentido.
broken at Grape House.
if the killer cannot return to Strawberry House,
Since I was at Strawberry House at that time, there's no question that the following crime is impossible.
It would have been different if they had an accomplice.
Or if there was a secret passageway.
Consegui capturar, passagem secreta. Deve ser a
How
resposta,
much
mano.
longer do you plan to lecture? Why don't we stop this already?
Uma contradição.
That elevator was the only means of
A
travel
única.
between the two houses.
Não, 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 não. Perdi a bala, droga.
Plus, the elevator broken at Grape House.
Meu
the killer
Deus.
cannot.
Since I was at, there's no question that
It would have been different if they had an
Or if there was a secret passageway.
Tá,
How much longer? Why don't we stop this already?
uma contradição. Ok.
That elevator, the only means of travel between the two houses.
No, that's wrong.
Acertei, desgraça. Outra era a passagem secreta.
No, there should have been another way to move between the two houses without the elevator.
Such a method does not exist.
Then why don't we ask the person who actually used that method?
Oh, a pessoa que usou o método, o Nagito.
You're the only one.
Meu Deus, cara.
Nagito, you should know.
What are you talking about?
Don't play dumb. You appeared so suddenly that one time because you used that method, right?
Caraca. Parecendo, ora.
There's a secret
É uma passagem
passage
secreta que
between
liga o
the
primeiro
first
andar da
floor
casa de Hugo e o terceiro da
Isn't
casa de
that
Hugo.
right?
Jeez. Once again, I let the result.
Ah, idiota.
But you're right. There's a door on the floor of the Octagon, which is on the first floor of Strawberry House.
Ah, é aquela
After
porta.
I opened the door and went down. Surprise, surprise! I ended up in the Monokuma archive.
Meaning the third floor and the fourth floor are actually connected.
Exato.
Plus, once you've cleared the final dead room once, you can pass through it as many times as you want.
If they used that secret passage, they could have gone between the two houses as well.
Infinity Unlimited Flame!
Que isso?
However, what if the killer
Não tivesse
was
conhecimento
unaware
sobre a
of the
existência da sala
existence of the
mortal.
There's no way that they...
That is merely an illusion you have fabricated from your own suspicion.
Caraca.
If you
There's no way I can stop them.
don't make me angry.
Tá, não sei o que ele quer tretar comigo. Conflito de ideias. Corda alarme, pilar, derrubada alarme, maçaneta, corda de arame, botão meia-noite. Vamos ver o que ele quer.
Even if the turbid box doesn't exist, you could travel through multiple planes, provided you use a spacious wormhole. However, how frail I say! Your decayed illusion. Shall I feed you to the progeny of vile deities?
Tá. Acabou? O argumento dele é cansativo, só me cansa de ouvir isso. Tem que cortar as palavras com cautela para que ele não exceda meu
Even if
ritmo.
the turbid box doesn't exist, you could travel through multiple planes, provided you use a spacious wormhole. However, how frail I say! Your decayed illusion. Shall I feed you to the progeny of vile deities?
Deu? Passei?
I can't back down.
Duelo de espadas cruzadas. Eita! Ganhei. Foda-se. Avancei.
I already
Ótimo.
proved the secret passage exists.
Uma passagem secreta.
The secret passage was at the Octagon.
Tá.
Know the limits of your own reasoning.
Conhece os limites do seu
Say
próprio
the killer
assassino.
went to the octagon.
Você disse que o assassino foi pro octágono.
Bark, you cur.
Fique quieto.
You don't want to drown in the maelstrom of blood.
Se você não quer se afogar no turbilhão de
At least
confusão
pray to the key
profunda.
which dwells in the light.
Caraca, provavelmente quer dizer a chave que habita na luz que vai
Know
romper a
the
escuridão.
limits of your own reasoning. You say the killer went to the octagon. Don't bark, you cur. You don't want to drown in the... At least pray to the key which dwells in the light.
Tá. Regredir. Meu Deus!
Damn it!
Ah, não!
Know the limits of your own reasoning.
Corda de arame.
You say the killer went to the octagon.
O assassino foi parar pro
Bark, you
octágono.
cur.
Seu tolo.
You don't at least pray to the key which dwells in the light.
Reis. Meu Deus, não consegui cortar. A chave que habita na luz que vai romper a
Know the
escuridão.
limits of your own reasoning. You say the killer went to the octagon. Don't bark, you cur. You don't want to at least
Ah, caraca, sempre corto errado.
in the light.
Ele provavelmente quis dizer, tente fornecer a evidência de que o assassino foi pro octágono. Tá.
Know the limits of your own reasoning.
Corda de arame.
You say the killer
né?
went to the octagon. Don't bark, you cur. You don't want to drown in the maelstrom of...
Foi isso?
Cut through those words.
Consegui?
The wire used
O arame
to string
usado
up
pra amarrar o
Nekomaru's body,
Nekomaru.
the hammer that looked like the weapon, and the chain on the door in the tower. Those are all the items that weren't in Funhouse. Where did the killer obtain them?
The only place I can think of is the Octagon. There were various weapons and tools there. I'm pretty sure I saw stuff like wires, hammers, and chains too.
Since those items were used in the crime, there's no doubt that the killer went to the Octagon.
Tá.
If that's the case, they obviously know about the secret passage too, right?
Sim.
It seems this is the end. Normally we'd end up listening to Hajime lecture us with a very long...
Ah,
There's
tá.
no reason to waste any more time
Então eu
on
vou
this
acabar com isso
opening
agora
act.
mesmo.
So I'm going to end this right now.
Hey, what are you...
First of all, by messing with all the clocks in the building,
Caraca.
Gundam tried to lure only Nekomaru.
Ele tá fazendo
The
todo o desenho.
elevator was probably broken by that point. Thanks to that, Nekomaru wasn't able to go to Grape Tower, which was supposed to be the meetup point. So he tried going over to Strawberry Tower, just like we did when we found out the elevator was broken.
Tá fazendo a minha
Well,
parte, tá
it's
ligado?
obvious he'd attempt that. At that time, we didn't know the two towers were the exact same place. Also, the button in Strawberry Hall wasn't broken, so he was easily able to enter Strawberry Tower. But surprise! Gundam was waiting for Nekomaru's arrival.
Hold on. If Nekomaru didn't go to Strawberry Tower, what would the killer have done then?
Their plan was a balancing act of uncertainties. But even if they failed, they probably wouldn't have minded. They can just greet everyone the next morning as if nothing happened, and come up with a different plan.
And
Caraca.
without such a risky plan, they wouldn't have been able to lure him at all.
I'm going to continue summarizing the case, okay? Through this, Gundam successfully lured Nekomaru to Strawberry Tower. There's no way he could fight head-on with the robotic Nekomaru, so by pressing the goodnight button, he rendered Nekomaru powerless without fighting him.
Hold on! You... What did you just say? That I didn't battle?
What's wrong with that?
Né?
Don't mess with me! Don't mess with me! I cannot ignore those words!
Why are you angry all of a sudden?
You fools do not understand! You don't understand at all! Ha! You make me laugh! After all this time, you still don't understand anything at
I don't understand anything.
years. Maybe I'm just a human destined for hell. However, I cannot finish just yet. I cannot finish!
Tá, porra, o que você pretende fazer?
Obvious. I'm going
Suas
to
posições
destroy your
ilusórias.
Are you saying you still have more? You still have room to argue?
Your words. You said I pressed
Boa noite do Nekomaru.
However, that
Esse botão estava na nuca do Nekomaru, porque senão eu teria que ficar atrás dele.
Not easy to get the drop on Coach Nekomaru.
It's
Exato.
even more difficult if it's a one-on-one situation.
just as I thought. Truly frail. Succumbing so easily. If you want to set me...
That's wrong.
Você tá errado, Dano. Você é o único que está errado aqui.
Such a wonderful line. Listen well. I shall teach you to first. You must crush them with your own overwhelming power. And as for the other, you must provide a reason that will persuade that human. You have not fulfilled either of those yet.
Tá, eu acho que você realmente não quer admitir isso. Então, assim como você pediu, eu vou fornecer um argumento que não lhe deixará a escolha. Caraca. Atitude de pânico, bora. Fudeu.
I won't let you! For the Tanaka Empire! Wither! Crushed as David prophesied!
Ai,
I
porra.
won't let you! For the Tanaka Empire! Wither!
Meu Deus.
Crushed as David prophesied!
Bora.
Show me the cadaver!
Estamos quebrando as defesas dele.
I won't let you! For the Tanaka Empire!
Bora.
Crushed as David prophesied! I won't let you! For the Tanaka Empire!
Estamos quase.
Crushed as David prophesied!
Tem Fever, bora.
For the Tanaka Empire! I won't let you!
Estamos quase quebrando.
The Tanaka Empire! It's Nekomaru's back!
4 devas sombrios da destruição.
Easily. This is the end!
Os ratos que entregaram ele. Caraca!
Even if you didn't get behind Nekomaru, you should have been able to press the button on the back of his neck. As long as you have the power of the hamsters you keep with you.
Are you seriously saying he used his hamsters to press the button on the back of Nekomaru's neck?
Of course, that'd be impossible for a normal hamster, but it would have been possible for Gundam. In fact, we saw that with our very own eyes, right?
Emissário do Mal, de acordo com nosso antigo contrato, chegou a hora de expressar sua força. Atravesse a raposa suprema prateada sem bico. Caraca, é verdade. Essa é a arte das lamentações Skyline do Rato Demônio. Em breve a porta do destino se abrirá.
Now that you mention it,
Ah, na
after
casa
it
de
leaked,
show,
one of Gundam's
um dos hamsters pegou um pedaço de
retrieved a piece of
papel.
wallpaper from the baton lighting, right? Hey, with your friends and their exceptionally smart brains, it must have been possible to secretly get one of them behind Nekomaru and press the button on the back of his neck.
Nossa!
Gundam.
Not just myself, but you actually brought up how splendid my subordinates. I have no recourse but to admit.
Admit it? Did you say you admit it?
It appears I've obtained a one-way
Só passar isso aqui
ticket to
pro
hell.
inferno.
Fine! Then you must trample me underfoot and in fact, victory can only be built upon a foundation of corpses. You cannot find peace without sacrifice. Now, trample this life.
Caraca.
Trample it as though it were mere trash on the pull the curtain strings of this worthless performance.
Ah, e tem que concluir de novo. Conjunto 1. Beleza. Tá. O horário... Deixa eu ver... Não. Tá, vamos ver quais são as imagens que já tem aqui. Deixa eu ver. Isso aqui. Boa. Aí tem a pilastra, não é a pilastra. A carinha da Kanye também não é. O relógio. O Hajime acordando. Aqui? Não. Vamos pensar mais uma vez. Tá. O relógio ali tá marcado. Não é o relógio. Tem alguma marca de relógio aqui? Deixa eu ver. O relógio tá marcando duas... Não é aqui. É aqui. Também não. Droga! Aí... Só tem uma do Hajime dormindo. Não. E aí, tipo, ele botou os ratinhos. Amarrou ele lá. Também não. Deu estouro, todo mundo acordou. Aí, boa. Conjunto 2. Tá, aqui, esse aqui não é. O botão do dedão também não é. Ele pegou e botou o martelo aqui. Ele setou o relógio. Não. Amarrou o coisa aqui. Não, é na próxima então. Não, caraca, também não é aqui. Na maçaneta caiu. Aí, mais 10, beleza. Deixa eu ver, ó, só o relógio agora. Não, também não. Caraca. Será que o relógio é aqui? Não, também não. Ah, desgraça! Tá. Aí, boa. Conjunto 3. Beleza, ele mexe no relógio do Nekomaru. Não, essa aqui já tinha, meu Deus. Tá. Quando ele cruza os braços, também já tinha. Nekomaru amarrado. Também já tinha. Falta o rato apertando o botãozinho. Aqui, boa. E amarrar ele na maçaneta. É isso? Deixa eu ver. Não, ele aperta pra descer, amarrar ele na maçaneta. Acho que ele já foi, né? Tá. Botou ele na maçaneta. Não, tá, isso aqui não é. O relógio já tá marcado. Cara, só pode ser isso. Eita porra. Cara, não é o Nekomaru caindo. Não é esse aqui escuro. Não é ele olhando o relógio. Só se for aqui. Aí, boa. Conjunto final. Ele quebrando o elevador. Tem a carinha do Fio Rico em algum lugar. O Fio Rico se senta. Tá, será que é aqui que ele puxa? Boa. A grade. Tá, não é essa aqui. E amarra coisa pela perna. Tá, tem duas agora. Uma é o Fio Rico sentado e outra ele mexendo no chip, né? Vamos ver onde encaixa. Manipulando a base do elevador de contato. Tem alguma coisa disso? Não. Então eu fui o Rico sentado. Aí, boa. Meu Deus, tá toda a situação agora. Todos os truques que o assassino preparou. Destruiu o painel do elevador, separou Nagito dos outros da casa de morango da casa de uva. Atraiu o Nekomaru sozinho. Tá.
Additionally, in order to secure an alibi, the killer went to the Strawberry House Lounge and set the wall clock's alarm to... After finishing their preparations, the killer went to Strawberry Tower, and they obtained these tools from the Octagon, which you can enter once you clear the final dead room. This means the killer discovered the secret of the funhouse faster than anybody else. That secret being, Strawberry House and Grape House are actually the same building. On the morning of the incident, Nekomaru woke up and headed over to Great Tower.
O horário, né?
There, Fuyuhiko
Estava
was
na
at the
sala.
lounge by coincidence. Witnessed Nekomaru. According to Fuyuhiko's testimony, that was around 5 a.m. But by that point, the killer had already messed with our perception of time. In actuality, Fuyuhiko witnessed Nekomaru at 7 a.m. That's also the same time Monokuma Taichi begins. Nekomaru went to Great Tower to participate in that. However, because the contact elevator was broken, Nekomaru was unable to go to Great Tower, so he decided to try going to Strawberry Tower. But the killer was waiting for him there. With the power of hamsters, they were able to press the good night button on the back of Nekomaru's neck. This forced him to enter sleep mode, rendering him immobile. From there, the killer began preparing to use the ultimate weapon. First, they set the alarm in Nekomaru's chest to 7:30 a.m. so he'd wake up. Then they tied him up with a metal wire, tied the tip of the wire into a loop, and hung it on the doorknob. After leaving Strawberry Tower, the killer then destroyed the door button to Strawberry Hall. They did this to keep us from entering Strawberry Tower and to keep us from discovering the secret of the building's structure.
Caraca, isso
that
foi
they
muito bem
used to
planejado,
kill
né, cara?
Nekomaru. Then, they used the secret octagon passageway to travel to Grape House. After arriving at Grape Hall, they pressed the button to open the door to the tower. When that happened, the elevator-like floor of the tower began descending, and Nekomaru's body was still inside,
Cara, que genial
dangling
isso.
upside down in midair from the wire. The killer entered Grape Tower to see if their setup was successful, and placed a hammer on the floor to look like the weapon, then wrapped a chain around the back door. This was done to make us falsely believe we couldn't enter the tower from Strawberry Hall.
Ele tava voltando.
With this, the killer finished their setup and tried to go back to their room using the secret passage, so they could craft their alibi when Nekomaru died from the fall. But something unexpected happened. Fuyuhiko, who saw Nekomaru earlier, was still at the lounge. As a result, the killer couldn't return to their room, and with no options available, time ran out. The lounge's wall clock alarm started ringing at 5:30. Well, actually 7:30. To avoid a worst-case scenario, the killer was forced to appear in front of Fuyuhiko with the others. When the wall clock's alarm rang, that was also the same time Nekomaru was waking up. He woke up while he was still hanging upside down, so he
Caramba,
couldn't
meu.
help but sway his body powerfully. Originally, the loop of wire was only supposed to slip off the doorknob, but because there was a heavier load than expected, the doorknob ended up breaking. Nekomaru fell from the 4th floor all the way to the 1st floor. He crashed into the pillar, which decapitated him on impact, and died. The sound of Nekomaru's impact echoed throughout the funhouse. However, by this point, the killer's plan was about to fail, thanks to the broken doorknob and Fuyuhiko. Meaning, the killer is someone who wouldn't have heard the alarm if they were in the deluxe room. They
Ah,
also
porra.
wouldn't have been able to return to their guest room. Because that someone is Gundam Tanaka. I can't think of anyone else but you.
Descoberto, rapaz! Meu Deus, cara!
That was splendid for a mere human.
Stop. Stop it already. Stop using weird words to avoid the truth. Or I'll friggin' kill you myself! I cannot believe it. I just cannot believe. You killed Nekomaru? I cannot believe something like that!
You don't wish to forgive me? Do you feel regret? Then finish it! Cast your impure vote for Gundam Tanaka! My beloved, deadly foes, let the voting time begin!
Ele surtou, né, mano? Vamos ver ó, a execução dele. Resultado final. Tá, até que foi bem. Eu acho. Não sei. 18 fases do julgamento. Isso é porra. B, tá bom. 40 moedinhas. O resultado não é tão distante. Tá. A parte mais importante. Vamos lá, gente. Vamos ver essa execução. Caraca, menos 2, gente. Carai. Se eu morder minha língua, então eu vou falar mais devagar. Ao jogar pelos resultados, vocês acertaram. Acertar 4 vezes seguidas, sem erros, é uma conquista esplêndida. Aquele que assassinou o robô Nekomaru na incrível casa maluca foi Gundam. Consegui dizer tudo sem morder a língua. Agora que decidimos que os assassinos vão fazer a execução e acabar logo com isso. Espera aí, a verdade é que o julgamento de classe acabou, mas isso não significa que o incidente esteja acabado. Aí não podemos acabar com isso até ouvirmos o que o Gundam tem a dizer. Não importa o que ele diga, isso não vai mudar. Caraca. Mas bom, gente, vou deixar a execução pro próximo episódio, senão esse episódio vai ficar gigantesco. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Terminamos mais um julgamento, descobrimos que o alvo é o Gundam. Armou tudo, fez toda aquela maluquice que foi extremamente inteligente, mas ele falhou em certas partes. Espero que vocês tenham gostado de mais um vídeo da Danganronpa. Deixa eu gostei, abraço, Molusquete, valeu e falou!